Hard to believe it's week 4 of the college football season. Hi, everyone. Al DeMarco here, General Manager, DeMarcoSports.com, like I had to tell you, right? Hey, just a quick reminder, down there in the lower corner, if you want to be alerted to when I've got the next video report, because you know I don't do them every single day, all you've got to do is subscribe to the channel and you'll get that little notification when I've got another video report live. So click and subscribe. Hey, I've got 4 complimentary plays for this Saturday card, including that little game in South Bend, Indiana between Ohio State and Notre Dame. Before I get there, though, just have to warn you, the video quality for this report stinks. This is the seventh time I've done this video for Saturday. Yeah, 7 times, because both my high-definition cameras have decided to go bye-bye and go on the fritz here this afternoon. And this is my second laptop I'm also using as well. Nothing has gone right today. It's just one of those effing days. I can't tell you how frustrated I am. So this is the ultimate in low definition. I feel like it's 2015 all over again. And so what can I say? Off we go. And let's get started with that first complimentary play. And we're going to run them in reverse chronological order for you. And let's start with the game between Washington and California. It goes at 10 o'clock Eastern time in Seattle. And I'll tell you what, Washington is a 20.5-point favorite in this game. And that doesn't bother me a bit. Nor does it bother me that this has been a damn close series over the past few years either. In fact, the last, 4 meetings have all been decided by a single score, because this is a damn potent Washington team. Michael Penix Jr. is just having one hell of a season. Is he not the front runner for the Heisman, and nobody even talks about it right now? Last week at Michigan State, 473 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, as Washington jumped out to the 35-0 halftime lead, 713 total yards in offense in the game for the Huskies, who are on a 6-0-1 ATS run, their last 7 games dating back to last season. And sure, California comes in here and they've got a couple of wins under their belt. Their only loss coming at home against Auburn. Nothing to be embarrassed about, but I don't like the 2 quarterback situation. Both transfers for the Golden Bears, who are trying to rev up their offense here, become more of a passing team, and yet they're really doing better on the ground still this season. The 2 transfers, Sam Jackson from TCU and Ben Finley from NC State, last week, they both struggled against Idaho. Yes, the Vandals actually led that game 17-0 before Cal rallied for the 31-17 win. And in that game, Jackson and Finley were combined 13 for 24, 114 yards versus Idaho. Now, Jackson is more the dual threat quarterback, and he's probably going to get the start here today. Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter that I've got to lay 3 touchdowns either, because Washington doesn't have a look-ahead game. They go to Tucson next week to play Arizona. Me, you, and 9 other guys could beat the Wildcats. Then they have a bye, and then they have their first big step-up game of the season when they host Oregon in Seattle. So, again, great spot, I think, to lay the big wood here with Washington. That brings us to our next game, that little game between Notre Dame and Ohio State. The difference in this game all comes down to the quarterbacks. On the one side, you've got Sam Hartman making his 50th career start, right? A 4-year starter between Wake Forest and now Notre Dame, going up against a guy, Kyle McCord, who's making his first big-time road start. And that, to me, is the difference in the game. And I also love the fact that Notre Dame, that line went from 3 early on Friday to 3.5 later in the day on Friday. And, of course, I'm recording this video for the 7th time at 7:30 Eastern time on Friday night. Well, you know my philosophy, buying the insurance, and tell me that did not pay off with the Saints again on Monday night. Tell me that did not pay off with the Eagles last Thursday night, but I regress. But again, at 3.5, I'm buying up the half point anyway on the Irish. And this is a series, yes, it has been one-sided with Ohio State winning 5 straight, covering 4 of those last 5. But unlike other years, Notre Dame has a quarterback, right? And Notre Dame has a running game, too. Now, is Ohio State a little better defensively? Sure. But you tell me, was Ohio State's defense up to the task of stopping Michigan last year? Pretty much the same defense. Now, Ohio State has the potent wide receiver combination led by Marvin Harrison, But is Ohio State going to be able to get the job done? A lot of people will point fingers and say, well, Notre Dame's 4-0, but Notre Dame hasn't played anybody. And okay, I'll grant you that's true. Navy, Tennessee State, NC State, and Central Michigan, 3 cupcakes and NC State, and the jury's out on the Wolfpack. But who the hell has Ohio State played? Beating up Western Kentucky last week at home? Winning against Indiana? Again, I'll take the points with Notre Dame. Also want to bring up something. One of the subscribers to the YouTube channel and a regular follower of DeMarco Sports mentioned in his comments that he was playing Notre Dame in the first half. And I wrote back, I said, is the genesis behind that play the fact that Notre Dame has a decided advantage with the quarterback and experience, and playing at home, you figure Ohio State's quarterback with the inexperience on the road, first big road start, that's why you would play Notre Dame pretty much at -1 or pick 'em in this spot in the first half. And he agreed. That was the genesis behind his thought process. It's a damn smart play when you think about it. And it makes sense. And I like first half plays, generally more in the NFL and especially in the preseason, not so much in college football. So I can see it being played that way too. But overall, I still like Notre Dame. I think it's going to be a field goal game, one way or another, where the insurance plays if you're playing Notre Dame as the dog. But I think the Irish have the possibility to win this game outright. So I like Notre Dame. The next play is going to be Texas Tech. Yeah, I'm taking the team that has lost 17 out of its last 21 games straight up on the road to win in Morgantown against West Virginia. Because if you saw that West Virginia game last week, the backyard brawl against Pittsburgh, you would have called it the boredom brawl. Oh, what a boring game. My God, who could possibly have watched that game and stayed awake? It was awful. So in that game, West Virginia had 211 total yards of offense. Their longest play from scrimmage, I think, was 16 yards. Their longest pass play was 15 yards, which tells you how bad Pittsburgh was, okay? So 2 straight wins against Duquesne and Pittsburgh really doesn't impress me much, to quote that noted sportscaster, Shania Twain. And during Neil Brown's 4.5-year tenure, West Virginia has never won 3 straight games, so why start now? Neil Brown, of course, a one-time offensive coordinator for Texas Tech. Now, Texas Tech, we know what's happened. This is a team that many consider to be a dark horse to win the Big 12. They started off with that 17-0 lead in Laramie against Wyoming, lost in double overtime. Come home, played Oregon, nip and tuck, managed to lose that game by 8. Then they beat up a cupcake last week. This is a must-win for Texas Tech. This is a team, Texas Tech, that has won and covered 4 straight in the series. I think 38-10 last year at home. Dynamite offense, questionable defense. West Virginia is going to take the air out of the ball by running it consistently, taking advantage of a soft Texas Tech run defense. But I just don't know in this game if West Virginia is going to be able to match Texas Tech when the Red Raiders get in that up-tempo offense where they like to snap a play every 20 seconds. And then once the Red Raiders start getting on the board, West Virginia's not going to have the offensive firepower to match it if the game plays out the way I anticipate it will. Plus, West Virginia, their starting quarterback, Garrett Green, left last week's game against Pitt after just 6 snaps with his ankle sprain, didn't practice Monday or Tuesday, barely practiced on Thursday and Wednesday. He's probably not going to play, although he's a game day decision, which means, I just like Texas Tech in this spot. Your final play is going to be Kansas, -9.5 at home against BYU. Second straight road game for the Cougars, who are, of course, making their Big 12 debut. Hey, props to them for winning in Arkansas last week, but it was as much BYU winning the game as Arkansas losing the game because the Razorbacks committed the turnovers and plus had the 11 penalties, or 14 penalties in the game, too. Let's face it, BYU was down 14-0 early. They were down by 7 late in the third quarter, too. And Arkansas just gift-wrapped them the game. Arkansas owned the game in terms on the stat sheet but again, you outgained BYU 424 to 281 and you lose the damn game at home. You gave the game away. Kansas won at Nevada. A very unimpressive win. But again, they owned the stat sheet. They just couldn't get into the end zone. 441 to 262 total yards, 24 to 14 first down advantage. But now they're back at home, and they've got a dynamite quarterback and Jalen Daniels as top-notch running back, and Devin Neal. And I think a second straight game here on the road for BYU is just a tough spot, so I'm willing to lay the 9.5 points. Now, to rate these plays, Texas Tech and Notre Dame are like right there, but I would rate Texas Tech a slight edge over Notre Dame, then Washington number 3, and then Kansas a distance 4th. So that's how it is. Texas Tech, Notre Dame, Washington, and then Kansas at the bottom. That'll do it, guys. I wish you well, and good luck to everybody.